Have a seat, state your name for record, swear to last name.
It's Brenda Lee Nestor, N-E-S-T-E-R.
Good morning, Ms. Nestor. I'm going to be asking you questions from this position, so, okay, so I don't want to confuse you.
All right.
All right, okay. Now, are you familiar with the Exxon station that's located, I guess, just north of Old Grand Haven Road on Sternberg?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with that station?
I've stopped at that gas station a few times and got gas, cigarettes, pop.
Now,
Your Honor, I hate to interrupt the testimony, but Mr. Willis has a hard time hearing. Is it possible that he use one of the magnifiers for...
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, were you familiar with a woman by the name of Jessica Heeringa?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with her?
When I go in and get gas or cigarettes, whatever, we'd strike up conversation. She had a young son, which my grandson was right around the same age, and we just struck up friendly conversation every time I go in.
Now, would you, I mean, I'm assuming you went to that Exxon station enough where you would know her on site, I mean, you
Yes.
would recognize her immediately,
Yes.
and would she recognize you?
Yep.
Now, were there other reasons why you were in that location?
I had a friend of mine that would go to the Texas Hold'em game room there over in the strip mall next to the station,
Okay.
and I'd give him a ride there and pick him up.
So you were his ride there, and then what, you would just wait around and then pick him up when he was done?
I'd go visit my kids' friends in the area, and then he would call me or text me when he was getting ready to leave.
Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to April 25th, 2013.
Yes.
It was a Thursday night.
Yep.
Do you recall going to the game room or bringing your friend to the game room that particular night?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember about what time you dropped?
5:36 when I dropped him off.
Okay. Now, was there a point in time, either at that point in time or later in the evening, that you stopped at the Exxon gas station?
Yes, when I come back to pick him up.
All right.
I stopped at the gas station to put gas in my car and get me some cigarettes.
Okay. And do you recall about what time that was?
It was like 10:30, 20 minutes to 11.
Okay. Now, when you walked in to the gas station, did you recognize who was working that particular night?
Yes,
Who?
it was Jessica.
And when you walked into the gas station that night, was Jessica alone?
No,
Who else was there?
Jeffrey Willis.
Now, had you known Mr. Willis at all prior to this?
No,
Had you ever met him before?
no,
Had you ever seen him before?
no.
What makes it so sure in your mind that it was Mr. Willis?
'Cause he looked right at me, because I was having a conversation with Jessica about her being there by herself at night. And that I'd have, if I was her, I'd have her husband or boyfriend or whoever come down and stay with her the last hour to make sure she was all right. And she said, he turned around, looked at me, and said that she's got her customers looking out for her too. And she, at that point, she sort of shook her head and like shivered. And something just wasn't right about the way she was acting. So we walked up to the cash register, and I told her that I'd hang around until she closed, make sure everything was all right. She told me I didn't need to do that. I says, well, I'm going to be parked at the strip mall right there. I says, I'll just park where I can see the station and make sure you're all right for the night.
Okay. Now, if you look on your monitor, is there a big map on your monitor?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recognize... Yeah. Hold on one second before I ask the question. Okay. It's an aerial view. Can you see where the Exxon gas station is in the
Yes.
lower, I guess, right-hand corner?
Yes.
And then the strip mall would be in the upper left-hand corner.
Right.
Now, as best as you're able, can you describe for me where you ended up parking your car, or when you left the gas station, where did you end up parking your car?
I parked on the service road in front of the strip mall, facing this gas station.
Okay, so if, let's see if I can, maybe, Ms. Nestor, it might be easier if you could walk up to that big monitor and just point on that monitor.
Okay.
Just so we get an idea.
When I left, I parked right here toward the gas station, facing toward the gas station, so I could keep an eye on if there was any trouble or anything going on.
Okay. Did you get that all right? Okay. And did you see the defendant leave?
Yes.
All right. And approximately how long, while you're parked in that service drive there, between the time you parked there and the time the defendant left?
Maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes.
All right. And did you see, what vehicle he got into?
Silver minivan.
All right. And in what direction of travel did the defendant leave it?
He turned right on Sternberg, went down to the stop sign and made a right on Grand Haven Road.
Okay. And did you see him after that?
Nope.
Now, when was it that you reported this to the police?
Earlier this year, the news had come out about a girl attempted kidnapping or whatever, and they showed him, and I jumped up and told my sister, that's the one that was at the gas station where Jessica disappeared.
Okay.
And my sister's asking me, what are you talking about? Because she, lived in Grand Rapids, didn't know nothing about it. And so I explained to her what it was. And then a couple days later is when I called Norton Shores Police Department.
All right. And there's no doubt in your mind two things. One, that Jessica was working that night.
She was working that night.
And no doubt in your mind that it was the defendant you saw.
No doubt.
Just for the record, I know you kind of pointed him out, Ms. Nestor, but could you point out the person you saw and describe him, please?
Defendant.
What's he wearing?
He's got glasses. That night he was wearing a flannel shirt with green, red, blue, white plaid looking, and blue jeans. And he was a little heavier than what he is now, but it's the same guy.
All right. Your Honor, let the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
Record will reflect an identification.
I have no further questions of this witness. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Harpster, cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Nestor.
Good morning.
Who's your friend? What's
His name's
name?
Twan.
Who?
Twan
Twan what?
Jurosic.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
Jurosic?
Something like that, yeah.
Does it start with a J?
Yeah.
And how many times did you take Mr. Jurosic to the game room?
Probably about 8 times.
And these were for Texas Hold'em tournaments?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever take part in one of those tournaments?
I went and played. I didn't take part in the tournament. It's a game room where you can go and play, and then they have tournaments on certain nights. But I played once.
Okay. Did you have to register to play? Sign anything?
No,
No, you could just sit down and play?
you go in and, get your chips, buy your chips, and sit down and play.
Okay. So you're dropping your friend off at the game room on April 25th, 2013.
Mhm.
Okay. And you remember this night?
Ms. Nestor?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Nestor, I know what "mm-hmm" means.
Oh,
So I
sorry.
need yes and no.
Yes,
All right, so
sorry.
it's clear, all right?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes,
But you remember this night?
yes.
Okay. You dropped Mr. Jurosic, what was his first name again?
Twan,
Twan.
Twon.
Off at the game room at about 5 or 6 o'clock that night?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
You left? Did you go to the Exxon station after you dropped him off?
Yes, I stopped in and got me a Mountain Dew.
Okay, was Miss Heeringa working?
Yes.
Okay. And how many times would you say you had met her before that night?
5, 6,
Over the course of how long?
probably like a month.
But you had never met Mr. Willis before, right?
No,
Never seen him before, right?
no.
Okay. You left and went somewhere for a few hours?
Yes, I went and visited my friend down on Honolulu.
Okay. Who was your friend in Honolulu?
Her name is Julie Carlin.
Julie Carlin?
Yeah, she lived in a trailer park there on Honolulu.
Okay, and you hung out with her for a few hours?
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys doing any drinking?
No.
Did you get a call from Mr. Jurosik, or did you know when to come back to pick him up?
I usually picked him up about 11 o'clock at night. He had texted me and said that he was almost done, so I had left and went down to Dexon, got gas, and like I said, she was acting different that night. She wasn't her usual happy self, her usual talky, you know. So I knew something, I don't know, I felt something was wrong.
You pulled up at the pumps?
Yes, I believe I did.
You filled up your car?
I put gas in it, $5 worth.
Okay, and then you went inside to pay, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, and inside, you see Miss Heeringa working, right?
Yeah, she's in the aisles.
She's in the aisles. Is somebody else
Straightening up.
working the counter?
No, nobody else was in there. She was in the gas station aisles cleaning up because it was almost time to close.
Okay, and where was this person you identify now as Mr. Willis?
He was in the next aisle over.
Doing
I
what?
mean, he was just standing there,
Just standing?
pacing back and forth.
Okay. Did you see a silver van in the parking lot that night?
Yes.
Where was the silver van? If you don't mind, you could point it out on the map, please.
Silver van was parked like over here.
Okay. In front of the station.
Mm-hmm. On the, yeah,
Okay.
corner.
And when you pulled in, you didn't think, you saw that van, right?
I didn't, I seen it because it was the only other vehicle that I seen.
So something about, you said Miss Heeringa was acting different. What do you mean?
Because we had a conversation, I says, "What, you here by yourself closing?" And she had said yes. And that's when I made the comment that I would have my husband or whatever come up and stay with you until you close, make sure you was safe.
Is this
She
something
was the
you've
only one
offered-
there.
Excuse me. Is this something you've offered to do for her before?
No, usually when I went in there before, there was a lot of people in there.
Why did you feel compelled to offer that to her this night?
After I had said that her boyfriend should be up there, or her husband should be up there with her to make sure she was safe when she left, he made the comment of, she got her customers looking out for her. And he looked right at me when he said it. And she sort of shook her head and sort of shivered. So it was different.
So you said that to her before this person you say is Mr. Willis said anything?
Yes.
Okay. But you had been there at night to pick up Mr. Jurosik before from the game room, right?
Right, but I didn't always go into the gas station
Okay.
every night. I would, during the day sometimes when I dropped him off, I would stop in there.
Okay. And you say she shivered?
Yeah, it was sort of, she shook her head and sort of like a chill went up her spine or something.
Is that something you forgot to tell the police officer when you reported this?
No,
No, you told him that?
yes,
So it's not in the report, that's something you forgot?
it should be in the report.
Okay. So, the next day, Miss Heeringa disappeared, right?
Yes, I seen it on the news.
Yeah, you must have seen it on the news.
I did.
But you were so compelled and worried about her on the 25th, the night before, That when you left, you didn't go to the game room, you sat in the service drive and watched?
I turned my car around because I told her I'd be right outside there, and if she needed anything, I'd be right there.
And it was all based on this shiver?
It was just her demeanor that night, yes.
Okay. And you sat there, you didn't leave, and you watched? Right.
I watched until she closed.
You watched until she closed?
Mm-hmm.
And that was even after this person you say is Mr. Willis had left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then when she closed, you went to the game room and got Mr. Jurosik?
Yes.
Okay. Does Mr. Jurosik live around here, or
And Muskegon, yes.
does he?
Yep.
So when you heard all the news the next day, you realized who was missing because you knew this person, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you had seen something suspicious the night before. So
Yes.
suspicious that you stuck around the Exxon station to watch, right?
Just to make sure she was safe.
And you never called the police.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, that's why I sat there, so if anything happened, I could call the police.
But you didn't.
Well, nothing happened that night. He left. He looked right at me when he drove out.
So 3 years later,
Yes.
more than 3 years later, you're sitting with somebody watching the news, right?
Yes.
You see a picture of Mr. Willis on the TV
Yes.
about this alleged abduction?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes,
Yeah, you
sorry.
have to answer out loud because it's being recorded.
Yes.
And suddenly you remember April 25th of 2016,
13.
2013. How are you so sure of the date 3+ years later?
Because I was there the night before she was kidnapped. Because when I seen it on the news that she was taken, I was there the night before.
Yeah, and you didn't call the police to tell them that, did you?
They had a description of the guy, they had a composite drawing of him, and
And it didn't look like the guy you had seen the night before, right?
yes, it did, that's why I didn't.
Oh, okay. Did he have a beard that night, Mr. Willis?
No.
He didn't have a beard that night?
Mm-mm.
Okay. But when you saw him on the TV, he had a beard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you instantly knew that was the guy you saw 3.5 or whatever years ago at the
Yes.
Exxon station.
Yes.
So then you were so sure, you picked the phone up and you called the police and say, hey, three years ago, more than 3 years ago, I was in the Exxon station before the night of the abduction, and I saw Mr. Willis in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
May I approach, Judge?
You may.
I'm showing you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit A.
Okay.
You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It's a picture of the composite of the guy they seen at the gas station.
Okay. And you saw this on the news after Jessica Heeringa disappeared, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you think this looks like the guy you saw the night before?
Yes, like I said, his face is a little bit fuller, and yes.
And you think this is Mr. Willis, the guy you saw the night before Jessica Heeringa disappeared?
Yes.
And you waited 3.5 years until you saw him on TV to call the police?
Yes.
No further questions.
I have nothing else, Judge, thank you.
And I have no questions, ma'am. May the witness be excused?
Yes.
Mr. Hoskins?
Yes, sir.
You're excused, ma'am, and you can stand down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the people of the state of Michigan called Dakota Dyer to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Matter now pending for this court, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Have a seat and state your name, and spell your last name for the record, please.
My name's Dakota Quail Dyer. Last name is Quail-Dyer.
Do you mind if I just call you Mr. Dwyer?
That
Is that
Dyer.
Dyer, excuse me, is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Dyer, what was your relationship with Jessica Heeringa?
I was dating her and living with her at the time.
All right. And besides yourself and her, was there another person living with you?
Our son,
Okay. And back in 2013, how old was he?
3.
3? Now, do you recall about when Jessica started working at the Exxon station on Sternberg?
I want to say around August or September of 2012.
Okay. And did she have a regular shift that she worked?
For the most part, she worked nights.
Okay. And was that a station that was open 24 hours a day, or did it have a closing time?
They closed.
About what time did they close?
I want to say 11
Okay.
on the weekends.
Now, when she would work that late shift, when would she usually start?
I want to say like 3, 4-ish.
And then work until about 11?
Yes.
Now, were there times that she actually worked past 11?
There was several times she would work past 11 just doing out work or things she needed to do for the gas station stock and stuff.
Okay. So close didn't necessarily mean during business hours. Sometimes it meant after business hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, during this time frame, in particular, during the time frame that we're talking about, April of 2013, were you working at the time?
No, I was not.
All right. I want to direct your attention to the day, April 26th, 2013. It's a Friday. Saturday. Friday. During that day, were you and Jessica together? Let me ask the first question is, was she scheduled to work that night?
Yes.
All right. During the day, were you guys together?
Yes.
And did you recall what you were doing that day?
We went out grocery shopping, went to the store. She dropped me off at my parents' house, and then she went to work.
Okay. And was your son with you during the day?
Yes.
All right.
She would go to work, and I would watch them.
Now, I guess the vehicle arrangement you had was what?
We shared a vehicle.
Shared a vehicle? Okay. And what kind of car was it?
A Mercury Sable, burgundy.
All right. Give me 1 second there. Look on your screen there.
That's the car.
Is that your car?
Yeah.
Okay. Or I guess was your car back in 2013?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you share anything else?
Cell phone.
Okay. So when Jessica would work, how would that arrangement work?
I would usually keep the phone just in case anything happened. She could call me from work if she needed anything, so I usually have the phone just in case anything happened with our son.
Okay. So that Friday night, she took the car to work?
Yes.
And I think you indicated you were dropped off
At my parents' house.
Okay. Now, do you recall, in a timeline sense here, Mr. Dyer, when was the first time you spoke with her that evening after she had went to work?
Around 8 o'clock when I got dropped off at home.
All right. Now, did you call her or did she call you?
I called her.
All right. Was that to let her know that you had arrived home?
Yes.
Now, did you speak to her a second time?
Yes. I do believe I called her just to tell her to pick up some milk. And then that was around like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay. On the occasions that you did talk to her, was there anything in her voice that made it sound like, something was wrong?
No.
Did she ever talk to you about, people bothering her, anybody bothering her at work?
No.
for the most part, Mr. Dyer, did you get the sense that this was a safe place for her to work?
Yes.
Now, obviously, you get a phone call later on Friday night, maybe early Saturday morning, from the police?
No, actually, her boss had called the phone because somebody said there wasn't anybody there or something. So I called the gas station to let her know that, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Fred was calling, and then that's when I talked to a police officer that was there. So,
Did you end up going down to the Exxon station that particular night?
yes, I did.
Now, you indicated that your son at the time was 3 years old, is that right?
Correct.
And what was the relationship between Jessica and her son?
Great. She loved him very much.
Did you ever get the sense that she would leave her son behind?
Never. No.
And since April 26th of 2013, have you heard from Jessica at all?
No, I have not.
Have you had any inclination or inkling that she's somewhere else?
No.
In your opinion, sir, would she ever leave her son behind?
No, I do not believe so.
The other interesting thing, Mr. Dyer, obviously the car was still at the gas station. I forgot, I think I asked you, did you go up to the Exxon station that night?
I did go up there and I talked to Detective Casher.
All right. Was that Mercury still parked in the parking lot?
Correct.
Were you made aware of the fact that Jessica's, I think, a coat or a shirt was still there?
I do believe it was her purse, her wallet, everything, her money, everything was left there.
Everything was there. So
Yes.
the purse was there, it was full of money, everything.
Yep.
I hate to ask you this question, Mr. Dyer, but I gotta ask it, okay? So I apologize ahead of time, but did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jessica Heeringa?
No, I did not.
Thank you. I have nothing else, Judge, thank you.
Mr. Hosaka Cross.
Thank you. Morning, Mr. Dyer.
Morning.
You were with Ms. Heeringa earlier in the day
That is correct.
on the 26th.
Yes, sir.
The two of you went shopping.
Yes.
Were you with her at Aldi's?
Yes.
Okay, that's where you guys did your shopping.
Yep.
Um, The two of you share one car,
Correct.
and you share one phone.
Correct.
And when Ms. Heeringa would go to work, she would take the car and you would keep the phone, right?
For the most part, some days I would take the car depending on what I had going on, but for the most part, she took it.
Sometimes you would drop her off.
Yeah.
Where did you work at the time?
I was unemployed at the time.
Okay. So you would stay home and take care of your son.
Correct.
All right. Do you recall when Jessica left the house on the 26th?
She dropped me off at my parents' house about 2:30, 3 o'clock that day. I went to work
Why were you going to your parents' house?
to eat dinner.
Okay. And she was scheduled to close the Exxon station?
Correct.
Was the plan you were just going to stay at your parents'?
No, my parents were going to drop me off at home.
Did they do that?
Yes, they did.
Okay. So you were home when you received some call from the police?
I actually got a phone call from her boss, and then I called the gas station, and that's when I talked to the police.
Okay. And then you went to the Exxon station?
Correct.
What time did you arrive there, do you know?
I want to say it was close to 12, maybe a little after 12.
Okay. But you had spoken to her over the phone during the course of the day?
Correct.
And the last time, I'm sorry, the last time you had talked to her over the phone was what time?
I would say around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
And everything seemed fine?
Correct. And she actually told me she would be home early because she was ahead with doing all her stuff.
And she never talked about anybody bothering her at the Exxon station?
No.
Now, I hate to ask this too, but I must. The two of you were having problems at this time, isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Relationship was rocky?
Yeah.
Why?
Objection, Judge. Relevance?
Your Honor, my client's on trial here for a capital crime. I think I have the right to investigate whatever other conflicts were going on at the time in Ms. Heeringa's life.
Great. I'll overrule the objection. You may proceed.
Thank you. Why were you going through trouble?
We had issues with other people, just jealousy issues, I guess.
Okay, what do you mean? What other people?
She always suspected me of being with somebody else. I always suspected her of her trying to see someone else. Infidelity, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. No one specific, just general, I don't know how to explain it, but
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's 10 being the best, what state was your relationship with Jessica?
10 being the best,
Yes.
I would say about 6.
Do you recall being asked that question by Detective Casher here? When he was investigating this crime 3 years ago?
What question?
To rate your relationship on a scale of 1 to 10.
Not particularly, no.
Okay, if I told you told him at the time it was a 4.5, would you dispute that?
No, I guess not. I don't know.
So there were jealousy issues, right?
Correct.
You actually caught Jessica with a man at the gas station before?
I didn't catch her with him. She was talking to him. She wasn't doing anything physically with him or anything like that. I seen her talking to him, yes.
Okay. And that led to a confrontation at the Exxon station?
I kind of cussed him out, told him to get lost, yeah.
Okay. And how long before the disappearance was that?
Month and a half, maybe 2 months.
There were also issues with regard to drug use
Judge, I'm
between
gonna,
the two of you?
I'm gonna object to the relevance of that.
Your Honor, Ms. Heeringa had issues with substance abuse. I think it is relevant to this investigation. It caused a great deal of strain in her personal relationships, and it brings in possible explanations as to her disappearance.
Right, I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead, you may proceed. But Mr. Hastica, on a, short bit here.
Okay. So there are issues between the two of you regarding drug use, too, correct?
Correct.
Her drug use?
Well, we both had issues at the time, but yes.
Okay. Well, isn't it true shortly before her disappearance, you caught her with drugs, or found out she was using drugs?
Yeah.
You caught her with a second phone that you didn't know about, correct?
Well, I knew about it,
You did?
yes.
Then why did you smash it?
Because she was hiding it in the lining of our truck so she could, in our car, so she could talk to her drug dealer. I found the phone and found the drugs and flipped out and smashed the phone.
Do you know who she was seeing for her drugs?
Objection, Judge. How is that relevant?
It's the same answer. There's a world here that Ms. Heeringa was involved in that my client has the right to explore that may help explain her disappearance. And if Mr. Dyer is aware of who she was seeing for her drugs, I would like to know if the police investigated these people.
All right, I'll overrule the objection. You may proceed. Go ahead.
Do you know who she was seeing for drugs?
I do not know him personally, I just know he went by a street name Jay-Z, that's all. I've never met the person, I've never seen him. I called him and cussed him out on the phone that one day, and that was it.
And how long before her disappearance did that happen?
Within a month, less than a month, you know, a couple weeks.
A couple weeks? In fact, the two of you got into such a fight it became physical, correct?
In a sense, yes.
In a sense? Well, that's what you told Detective Casher, right?
Yeah.
Now, you were aware of this second phone, the one you smashed, a couple weeks before Miss Heeringa disappeared, correct?
Correct.
Were you aware that a second phone was found in her car the night of her disappearance?
No, it was not.
No, you're not aware?
No, I was not aware of that.
This is the first time you've heard this?
Yes.
Do you have any explanation as to where that phone may have come from?
No, I do not.
You knew nothing about her having a second phone after you smashed the one she had?
No, I didn't know that. I just knew we had the one phone.
Are you aware of Jessica keeping a personal journal?
Yes.
Is that something she kept private from you or something that she shared with you?
She didn't share it with me, no. It was something she kept private.
Did you locate that journal for the police?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you find it? You have to answer out loud.
Mr. Dyer, you have to, I know what and with a head
I
shake
got you.
means, but we need yes and no.
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr.
Where-
Costa, you may proceed.
Thank you. Where did you find that journal?
In our house. I mean, it was somewhere I could locate it, do you know what I mean? But it was not something she was like, here, read.
Okay. And when you found it, you turned it over to the police.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Just in case there was anything in there that might pertain to her disappearance. Anybody she might be in contact with. I don't know. I just figured it might help.
May I approach?
Yeah.
Give me a minute, Judge, there's several pages here, and I'm... Do you own or have you ever owned a Walther-type pistol?
A what?
Walther-type pistol?
I've never owned a pistol ever.
All right. So you've never owned a Walther 22 or a Walther gun that had a laser sight to it?
No.
All right. I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
All right, may the witness be excused, Mr. Hilson?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hostica, may this witness be excused? You are excused.
People of the state of Michigan call Susan Mosley to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Matter not being closed court, so to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Go ahead and have a seat. State your name and spell your last name for record.
Susan Elliott Mosley,
Judge, I need her to repeat
Yeah.
that.
Into the microphone.
Ms. Mosley, I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you when you affirmed to tell the truth. So can you please stand, please?
yes,
We just need to have that clear on the record. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes.
Thank you. Nice and loud with your...
Okay.
Okay?
All right. My name is Susan Elliott Mosley, Elliott, space, Mosley.
Do you mind if I just call you Miss Mosley? Is that okay?
Whatever works.
Okay. Back in 2013, specifically April of 2013, where were you working?
Macaulay Place,
And what shift were you working?
seconds and thirds.
And specifically on April 26th of 2013, were you working that particular day or night?
Yes, a second shift.
And second shift went from when to when?
2 until 10. The nurses usually have a half-hour report, so you're lucky if you get out about 10:30-ish.
All right. And are you familiar with the Exxon station located on Sternberg Road in Norton Shores?
Absolutely.
Do you go there often?
No,
All right.
not anymore. I did at that time.
Okay, fair enough. Again, April 26th of 2013, did you stop at that station after work?
Yes,
And what was the purpose of going to the station?
to buy a lighter.
Okay. When you walked into that station, did you notice anything unordinary or wrong?
No,
Were you familiar with the cashier that was working?
yes,
And how are you familiar with that cashier?
from going in there all the time.
And was that cashier Jessica Heeringa?
Yes.
And did you actually purchase a letter that night?
Yes.
I'm handing you what's marked as People's Exhibit 61. Take a look at that. Do you recognize that receipt?
That could very probably be.
All right. Did you buy anything else, I guess?
No,
Just the
no,
lighter?
no, just the lighter.
All right. And Jessica was the cashier?
Absolutely.
Was there anybody else, I don't know if I asked you this question, was there anybody else working that night?
No, no one else was there.
Just you and her?
Yes,
All right. After you bought the lighter, did you leave the store?
yes.
And do you remember about what time that was?
I remember getting out of work a little bit later than 10:30, and my daughter had picked me up because she had volleyball practice, so she had the car that evening. So it had to be between however long it takes to get from Sanctuary at Macaulay at the Mercy campus until there. It had to be about 1:45 or 10 to 11-ish.
Okay. And I think you indicated when you were there, nobody else came in?
No, there was a car there getting gas, but they had left as I was pulling in.
Okay. And when you left after buying that lighter, did anybody come in or approach or that
No.
you saw?
No,
Okay. So if the register tape says the transaction happened at about 10:51 and 49 seconds on that night, that sound about right?
oh yeah, Yeah.
Okay. PM, I should say.
That's about right.
All right. Thank you. I have nothing else, Judge.
Cross, Mr. Hosty.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Mosley.
Hi.
At about 10:51 PM on April 26th, you bought a lighter from Ms. Heeringa.
Yes.
Everything seemed okay with her? in your
Yeah,
opinion?
she actually was in a good mood. We chatted for a few minutes, which we frequently did. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Okay, and how often do you think you would see her at the Exxon station or otherwise?
During that time frame, quite a bit, because Pick and Pack, right by where I lived, was closing at 9 o'clock, so it was always a miss for me. If I was going in on third, I missed it. If after second shift, I missed it.
Okay. About 6 to 8 weeks before this happened, did you notice her having any problems with a man?
I had problems with a man. There was a man that came in there quite often, very poor proxemics.
What does that mean?
You couldn't even, I always bought a certain things, so I couldn't even get to the coffee machine because this person wouldn't move. There was, I'm not sure if she was having a problem, but I know I was.
Well, did you, when you were having a problem with this person, was he at the Exxon station the same time you were?
That night?
Is that what the problem was? Was it at the Exxon station?
Yes.
Okay. So this guy you would see at the Exxon station, you had a problem with?
I was afraid of him. His proxemics were very poor. I felt that Jessica was alone, shouldn't have been. It was always in the evening. This person, just a character judgment. I felt it just wasn't safe. It wasn't. There was other people that would hang out there as well, and Jessica was alone, and I didn't think it was appropriate.
And you thought it was so unsafe that you reported it to the
I did.
ownership, right?
I did.
Okay. And then this guy disappeared for a while?
Yes.
You didn't see him anymore? Okay, he was about 5'6", 5'7"?
That might be a little bit short, maybe 5'8", or 9. He definitely wasn't like a 6'5".
If I told you Deputy St. Clair reported that you said he was 5'6", 5'7", would you dispute that?
I might not. I'm not as good at, I might not dispute that.
Or I should say Detective St. Clair, I think. And he had a mustache.
Yes,
Right? No beard.
correct.
Drove a brown truck.
I think he may have driven a brown truck. I cannot say whether or not for sure, but I did see a brown truck there a lot in the evening.
No further questions.
Just one quick follow-up, Judge. Ms. Mosley, you did not see that man or that brown truck on April 26th when you were there?
No, I did not, or I wouldn't have stopped.
Okay.
There was certain cars and certain things, I just wouldn't have stopped. I had my daughter with me, I wouldn't have done it. I would have driven into Fruitport before I did that.
All right. So that truck, that man that you had this issue with was not there that night on the 26th of April?
That's correct.
All right. I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I ask one follow-up question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mosley, did you say, I just want to make this clear, did you say after you bought the lighter, you hung around and talked to Ms. Heeringa for a little?
No, I didn't hang around. We exchanged words, and she seemed very fine. Everything was great. She didn't seem like she was into any kind of distress.
Okay.
And I just got the lighter and,
So-
pleasantries.
Okay, so if the receipt says 10:51 and 50-some whatever seconds, Mr. Hilson will correct me if I'm wrong, you'd say you maybe stayed another minute or two? to
Correct.
chat with her?
Correct.
No more than how long?
No more than a minute or two. My daughter was in the car.
No further questions.
I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
I have no questions. Can the witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are excused, ma'am, and you can stand down. Thank you.
People of the state of Michigan call Eric Barber to the stand.
Further, sir. Raise your right hand. Man, now bring you before the clerk, someone to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Go ahead and have a seat, state your name.
Eric Barber. B-A-R-B-E-R.
You may proceed, Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Judge. Let's put my page here. Good morning, Mr. Barber.
Good morning.
I want to direct your attention to April 26, 2013, about 11 o'clock at night. Do you know a person by the name of Susan Follet?
Yes, I do.
Back in April 2013, what was your relationship with her?
She is my wife.
Now, was Susan employed at the time?
Yes, she was.
And where was she working?
Sternberg Exxon.
All right. On that particular night, April 26, 2013, were you and her together?
Yes, we were.
And what were you doing?
We were out on our motorcycles.
Now, without getting into too much detail, roughly, where did you guys travel that particular night?
The outskirts of Norton Shores, back to Sternberg.
Okay. And at some point in time, as you were headed, I'm assuming headed home, do you remember being at the intersection of Old Grand Haven Road and Sternberg?
Yes, I do.
And in what direction were you guys traveling?
East.
On Sternberg or Old Grand Haven?
Sternberg.
Sternberg? Okay. And as you were traveling on Sternberg, did a particular vehicle catch your eye?
Yes, it did.
And what about the vehicle, or what made you look at this particular vehicle?
It shut its headlights off.
Okay. And approximately, sir, where did you see this vehicle when it shut its headlights off?
At the gas station, just getting ready to turn the corner around the building.
Now, did you happen to see the color of the car?
Yes, I did.
What color was it?
It was silver minivan.
Silver minivan?
Yes.
Now, do you recall, sir, about what time that was?
It was, I believe, just before 11 o'clock,
All right.
somewhere in there.
Now, I know there's a map in front of you there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes,
You gotta
yes.
use yes and no.
Yes.
All right. Is that a yes?
Yes.
But just for the court's purposes, I'm going to have you stand up. You see that same map is over in the
Uh-huh.
TV over there?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I need you to do me a favor and speak really loud, because that nice lady right there is taking down everything you say, okay? Go ahead. Walk right up to the screen. Now, can you point out for us where you and Susan were on your motorcycles when you saw this van turn the lights off?
We were right about in here.
I guess I forgot to do this the first time. Let the record reflect, he's pointing on Sternberg Road, just in front of the Exxon station.
Yes.
It will.
Now, when you saw the van turn the lights off, where was the van?
Getting ready to turn this corner right by the building right there.
Okay, let the record reflect, he's pointing, I gotta get my directions right here. I'm terrible at directions, but he's pointing, would be east side of the building, is that right?
Yeah.
East side of the Exxon building?
Ready to turn the east side, that's where the building is.
So, did that van turn its lights off as it was turning around the corner there, which would be the, I guess, the southeast, or northeast part of the building, or did it turn the lights off before it turned the corner?
Just when it turned the corner.
Okay,
Just before it turned the corner, actually.
all right. So just before it turned the northeast corner of the building, it turned
The
its lights.
headlights went off.
All right. Did you see the van continue behind the building?
I seen it was headed back there.
Okay. Now, as, I'm gonna have you stay right here. Did you continue on Sternberg Road?
Yes, we did.
Okay. At some point in time, did you turn around?
Yes, we did.
Why?
Because my ex-wife said something like fishy, so we turned around.
All right.
Now, do you recall about where you turned around?
The tire store,
Bell Tire Store?
Bell Tire Store.
All right, so you turned around the Bell Tire Store, I'm assuming then would be westbound on Sternberg?
Yeah.
And where did you drive your motorcycles to? You point to that place.
We came up this road, went around the curve, ended up right around in here in the parking lot.
Okay, so the record should reflect, Your Honor, that they turned on the first service road as they were traveling west. So they went north on the service road, then west on that service road, and then ended up in the, kind of the back, or I should say, front right-hand corner in the parking lot there?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's both you and Susan?
Yes.
Now, when you got to that location, could you see behind the gas station?
Yes.
All right, and what did you see?
A minivan.
All right, and was that minivan, was it parked, closer to, would be the back corner here, or closer to the corner you saw him turn, or you saw the van turn?
I would say it was about in the middle.
About in the middle?
In the middle.
Okay. And when you got to that spot in the parking lot, what was happening at the minivan?
The back hatch opened up,
Okay? And then what happened?
and then it closed, and then it opened up real quick again, and then closed again.
Okay. And did you see how many individuals were moving around that van?
No, I didn't.
All right. Did you see the person who was opening and closing the hatch?
No, I didn't.
All right. Eventually, does that van move?
Yes.
Okay. And what direction does the van move?
It came out this way, and it went right down this road, headed out off Grand Haven Road, and took a right.
Okay. Just so that, I'm going to just do this for the record so that we're clear. You indicated that the van went west and hit that first service road, turned north,
Yes.
and then went west again,
Yes.
and actually drove through, I guess, just underneath the parking lot of the Once Mall there.
Yes.
Now, how close, let me ask you this, did the van pass you and Susan?
Yes, it did.
And how close do you think you were to that van?
Maybe 30, 40 feet maybe.
Okay? And you tell me, are there lights that illuminate the parking lot at night at the Points Mall that you can remember?
Oh, that lighted up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad question.
Yeah.
Now, could you see whether there was a driver?
I could see a driver.
And could you tell whether the driver was male or female?
No.
Could not tell. Was it the same, let me ask you this question, was it the same silver minivan that you had seen earlier turn its lights off and pull around the corner?
Yes.
Now, as that van passed you, what did you do?
We were actually headed out,
Okay,
and we kind of followed it out.
followed the van out?
Yeah.
And how close to the van did you get?
Not real close.
Okay. You said you saw this van get to this intersection, so this would be the entrance north of Sternberg to the Points Mall, correct?
Yeah.
And it went what direction?
Into the right.
So it went north on Grand Haven Road?
Yes.
And which direction did you and Susan go?
We went left and south.
South on Grand Haven Road? Okay, have a seat. There are a few more questions for you. When that van passed you and you saw the male driver, was there any other movement in the car? In other words, was there anybody sitting in the passenger seat?
Not that I could see.
Was there any movement in the back, behind the seat?
Not that I could see.
Bear with me for just 1 second here. I'm going to show you what's marked as people's 10, 11, and 12. You see is that picture up in front of you there?
Yes, it is.
Now, I'm not asking you, Mr. Barber, if these next pictures are the actual van you saw. What I'm asking you, is it consistent with the van you saw that particular night?
Yes, it is.
So that's Exhibit 10,
I'm sorry, what's Exhibit 10?
what you're seeing right there,
Okay.
Brian.
Okay.
Exhibit 11, same
Yes,
question.
yes, it is.
Consistent?
Yes,
And finally, Exhibit 12.
yes.
Now, could you tell whether or not the van itself that you saw that night, did it have a Michigan plate? State of Michigan plate?
I couldn't say.
Couldn't say? Okay. Now, when you arrived, I'm assuming you went home from that.
Yes,
When you arrived home, how long were you home before Susan got a phone call?
seconds.
Seconds?
Yeah, it wasn't long.
And the phone call was from who?
Her boss.
The owner of the Exxon station?
Yes,
And did that cause you and Susan then to go back to the Exxon station?
yes, it did.
And at that time then, were there a bunch of police officers around?
Yes, there was.
All right. Thank you, Judge. I have nothing else.
Cross, Mr. Hastert.
Morning, Mr. Barber.
Morning.
When you and Susan were driving by the Exxon station on the night of the 26th, I'm sure Mr. Hilson covered it, but I didn't catch the time exactly.
It was just before 11 o'clock.
Okay. And you look to your left, and you see a silver minivan driving parallel to you in the service drive?
Yes,
Okay. A few minutes before 11. Is that the answer?
Yes,
You have to
yes,
answer on
yes.
Because it can't be recorded. Okay. How do you know what time it was?
because when we checked the time, when we got home,
Okay. But I'm asking you, when you first saw the van driving parallel on the service drive, you said it was a couple minutes before 11.
yes.
Did you look at the time?
When we stopped, I did.
Okay. And you stopped at the Bell Tire store?
No, when we got to the parking lot behind the Exxon.
What time was it when you stopped in the parking lot behind the Exxon?
It was some before 11,
Okay.
like 10, 15 minutes before 11, somewhere in there.
Okay, so, but wait a minute. When you're driving by the Exxon station, you continue east on Sternberg over the highway, right?
Yes.
To the Bell Tire store on the other side of the highway by the Lakes Mall.
Uh-huh.
You
Say yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
you pull into the parking lot and you have a discussion with Susan.
yes.
She wants to go back, right?
Well, we had a discussion at the corner before we got to the Bell Tire and turned around.
Oh, when were you at a light or something?
Yeah, we were at a light. She said, something looks funny, let's turn around and go back. And I said, okay.
Okay, so you turned around the Bell Tire store
Yes.
and came back.
Yes.
And how long do you think that took you to turn around? Did you pause it all?
No.
Question, I'm sorry. Did you pause it all in the Bell Tire parking lot?
No, we just whipped right around and went right back.
Okay, so a matter of 2 minutes?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay,
Minute or two.
all right. And then when you got back, you headed back west on Sternberg, right?
Yeah.
You took
Yes.
a right, yes?
Yes.
You took a right into the service drive that runs just west of the Exxon station?
Yes.
That we saw up on the map.
Yes.
You parked in the Lakes Mall.
Yes.
Why were you guys watching?
Because we thought something was funny going
What did you think was going on?
on. Perhaps stealing.
Okay, why would you think that?
Because boss was complaining stuff was coming up missing in the store.
Okay.
Boxes of product.
All right. So you're watching this van because you're worried about maybe someone's coming there to steal?
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, she works there, so she's the manager or whatever, so,
All right. And your ex-wife worked there?
yeah,
I don't know if you still work
yes,
there.
no.
Okay. The van was at the back of the Exxon store when you parked your bikes at the Lakes Mall, or the
Yes.
Points Mall. I think I
Yes.
said Lakes Mall before. The Points.
Well, I know what you mean,
Okay.
yes.
Was it backed in?
No, it was facing us.
Okay, but you're north of it.
It was, the van was pointing towards Old Grand Haven Road, the front of the van.
Okay. So the driver's side was parallel to the wall in the back of the,
Yes.
okay, in back of the station? Did you see in relation to where, the door in the back? Like the driver's side or let me say the back of the van was?
I seen the back hatch open up twice and close.
Did you see where the door was in relation to the back hatch?
Did I see where the door, I guess?
Door to the back of the Exxon station.
Oh, did I see that door?
Yeah,
No.
okay. So you couldn't tell where it was in relation to the van?
No, it just looked like it was about in the middle of the back of the store.
Okay. And you know the Exxon station because of your ex-wife?
Yes.
And there's usually a light on in the back of the
Yes,
station?
there is.
No, there was no light on?
No light.
So you couldn't see what was exactly going on?
No.
Okay. So you sat and watched, and then after the light in the back of the van turned on and off, and then turned on and off again, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, twice.
The van left, drove straight towards you?
Yes.
Okay. Passed right in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't see anybody while they were parked in the back of the Exxon station? Right.
No.
But you
No.
did see that something of the driver when he drove by, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you tell there was somebody in there?
White male?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, if you told you did get interviewed by the police officer. I know it's been a while,
Yeah.
but you remember being interviewed by the police officers?
Not really.
No? You don't remember saying white male with poofy hair, longer hair?
I could have.
That doesn't ring a bell? Help you remember?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember no glasses, no facial hair?
No.
Okay. Do you remember telling the police that you thought the van was a silver Chrysler Town and Country?
Yes.
Okay. Because your sister-in-law has one just like it?
She does.
Okay. And it had shiny new rims?
I don't know about that, but
Okay, well, if I told you told the police that, would that help you remember?
I might.
And you know what, but that doesn't help, you don't remember saying?
Well, I said something about it had rims on it. I didn't say shiny new rims.
Okay. That is a Dodge Caravan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Barber, how long does it take for you to get home from the Exxon station?
I guess that depends on how fast I'm going.
Well, let's say speed limit.
Maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. Do you recall what time you left the parking lot at the Points Mall?
No.
Okay. But you did leave right after the van pulled out, right?
Yes,
Pretty much
yes.
right in back of it?
Yes, yes,
Okay, and it turned right, you turned left on Grand Haven Road?
yes.
Okay. No further questions.
I have nothing else, Judge, thank you.
All right, may the witness be excused, Mr. Hilson?
Yes, sir?
And Mr. Hopska?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Barber, you're excused and you can stand down. Mr. Hilson, Mr. Hostica, sidebar real quick.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to take a 15-minute recess at this time. And so we'll resume at just before 11. And I just want to place something on the record. This morning, both Mr. Roberts from the prosecutor's office and Mr. Hostica were in my office. We had a discussion about the assembly of witnesses, and the request was made of me to use the jury assembly room across the hallway. I consented to that. I want both parties to know that I agreed to that with Mr. Hostica's consent, that they use the jury assembly room. Is that right, Mr. Hostica?
Yes, sir.
All right, and Mr. Hilson?
I was aware of that, Judge,
Yeah,
yes.
and I just want the record to reflect that I have instructed my staff that works in the offices that are just adjoining that not to discuss this matter at all with any witnesses and have no contact with those witnesses at all. With your consent, Mr. Hostica?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hilson?
Yes, sir.
All right, very well. So we'll resume at just before 11. Sergeant Gilchrist.
Yeah.
Just I'll take one 15-minute break here. Everybody change. And then we'll resume. We'll go to okay. And then we'll resume at 1:30, and then I'll break around 3:15ish. Mid-afternoon for 15 minutes. You good with that?
Perfect, yep.
Oh,
Works for us, yes.
just to let you know what my plan is.
Susan K. Follet, F-O-L-L-E-T-T.
To name Eric Barber.
I was
And what were you and Mr. Barber doing?
out riding our motorcycles.
And do you recall approximately what time you started riding your motorcycles?
No idea.
At some point in time, do you recall being in the area of Sternberg and Old Grand Haven Road at that intersection?
Yep.
And are you familiar with that area?
Yeah,
Okay,
very much.
all right. Did you at that time work for the Exxon station located on Sternberg?
I did.
And did you have a title?
No, not
No.
really.
Okay. And typically what shift did you work?
First,
And that was from when to when?
5 o'clock in the morning until noonish.
Okay. On that particular night, on April 26, 2013, you can see in front of you there's a map, kind of an aerial view of the gas station and the Points Mall. Is that correct?
Yep.
I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have you get up. We're going to walk over to that big one over there, okay? Go ahead and walk right up to it, please. Now, I want you to start here at this intersection. And were you traveling on Grand Haven Road or Sternberg?
Sternberg,
And where were you headed?
toward the gas station.
Okay, so east on
East.
Sternberg?
Yes.
Now, at some point in time, as you're traveling east on Sternberg, did you see or observe a silver minivan?
I did.
And when did you first see that van?
Just sometime after I crossed Grand Haven Road
Okay, and where was the van traveling?
in that parking lot.
Okay, when you say that parking lot, you're pointing to the parking lot on the east, or the Points Mall parking lot?
Yes.
Okay. And was it actually traveling in the parking lot, or is it traveling along that service road on the
On
bottom?
the service road.
On the bottom?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't warn you here, we don't have a microphone here. She's kind of taking, so make sure we speak loud, okay? She's got to take down every word, all right? All right, so as you're traveling eastbound on Sternberg, that silver van is traveling eastbound on that service road.
Yep.
All right? Then does the van continue to kind of follow along the same path as you guys?
Yeah.
Running parallel, essentially.
Just about parallel.
All right? Do you see where that van goes?
Yeah.
Where does it go?
You pulled into the very last drive right there and went behind the building.
Okay, so just for record purposes, he continued on the service drive to where it ends?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Is it a yes,
Yes.
ma'am? I need yes or no's. I know what mm-hmm means, but we need to have it on record that it's a yes or a no, okay?
Yes,
Thank
Okay,
you.
then would have turned right,
yes.
and then did it go in front of the station?
No,
Okay, where'd it go?
behind the station.
Okay. And did it drive all the way through behind the station?
Yes.
Okay, then what did it do?
As soon as I got to the back of the building, it did a U-turn, turning toward the road and turn off his headlights.
Okay, so if you could just point and describe what you mean. Just show the route, and I'll describe it for the record, but go ahead.
He was pulling through here, he did a U-turn, turning toward the road, and went back toward the back of the building.
Okay, so, for record purposes, you saw the silver van drive behind the station,
Yes.
correct? It then turned right on the eastern end of the station,
Yes.
did a U-turn kind of in that little section right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point in time, did the van turn the lights off?
Yeah.
When
Yes,
When did that happen?
as he was doing the U-turn.
Okay. So van does the U-turn and then stays on the east side of the station?
Yes.
And then where does it go from there?
Right back to the back of the building, and I don't know where he parked until I came back.
Okay. So prior to the van getting to the back for the second time, the headlights were already out?
Yes.
Okay. You and Mr. Barber continued east on Sternberg, is that correct?
Yes.
And what happens next?
I wanted to do a U-turn, but I figured I'd get pulled over, so I went up to the light and told Eric that I didn't feel good about it, so I was going back. And he said, all right, so we took a left at Harvey and turned around in Dyer and went back.
Okay. Approximately, how long do you think that took? From the moment that you made that statement to the time you turned back and we're now heading westbound on Sternberg?
A minute,
Okay? So a very short period of time.
very short.
So you head westbound on Sternberg. Where do you go? Just point on the map.
We pulled in this drive right here, and I seen the van already as soon as I came to the front of the building. And then I turned in right here, and we just continued this way.
Okay, just so for record purposes, you're westbound on Sternberg, is that correct?
Yes,
You make a right in the very first drive,
yes,
is that correct?
yes,
And if I understand correctly, before you made that right, you actually saw the van on would be the northwest corner of the building?
yes.
Okay. Were the headlights on or off?
Off,
All right. You drive to the, kind of the dead end of that first service drive, correct?
yes,
Take a left,
yes,
and then you drive up into the parking lot?
yes.
All right. Approximately where did you park your motorcycle?
I really don't know, but maybe in there.
Okay. So the record should reflect, Your Honor, she's pointing to the bottom middle of the parking lot, between the two, I guess between the U barrier and the two,
I think it was a little north of those.
a little north of the barriers?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, from that distance, could you see behind the Exxon station?
It was dark. I could see the van. I could see on the side of the building. With the back of the station, no, I could not see the back.
Okay. Do you see any movement by the van while you're there?
When we were driving right here, the back hatch was open and I could see something going on back there, but that's all I've seen.
Okay. Did that hatch open once or twice?
As we were parked up here, the hatch came down and then it immediately opened right back up and then closed again.
Okay. And from your vantage point in the parking lot, could you see any individuals back there?
Yes, after he closed the hatch, he continued on the driver's side of the van and got in the van.
You say he, it was a male?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Besides that one male, did you see anybody else?
I did not.
Okay. Does the car or the van start back up again?
I don't know about that because as soon as he got in the van, it was like it was already started and he just pulled away. It was like so quick.
Okay. And at some point in time, when the male driver got into the van itself, did the headlights come back on?
I guess I don't know that.
Okay, that's fine. Did you see the path of the van as it left behind the Exxon Mobil station?
Yes.
Okay, could you kind of point that out for the court?
We left in the same direction that he came in right here and then continued this way.
All right, so left westbound, hit the service drive, correct?
Correct.
Turned right or north
Yes.
to the end, and then made a left,
Correct.
headed westbound, and then followed the service drive. Did it follow, and I guess where did the van end up?
Well, he turned north onto Grand Haven, but at some point, I don't remember where we were pulling out of, but I was like T-boned right into the van.
Okay. Did you get an opportunity to see if anybody was in the passenger seat?
Seems like I would have seen him, so I didn't see anybody,
All right. Still the male driver?
just male driver.
And I know at some point in time, did you offer officers a description of the male driver?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, how did you describe him?
Tall, broad shoulders. I remember pretty hair.
Remember the color?
The
Oh, the hair,
man,
the hair.
blonde. It was like brown, but it was like pretty, so maybe blonde stripe or streaks.
And
He
it
was wearing a bright orange or red shirt.
Okay. And do you recall, was it a white male or?
White.
White male, okay. After the van passes you, what do you guys do, you and Eric?
We continued behind him.
Okay. And I think you indicated that the van ended up at this intersection here, the northernmost drive into the Points Mall, which kind of goes right into Grand Haven, Old Grand Haven Road, is that right?
Yes.
And the van turned in what direction?
North,
Okay, north on Old Grand Haven, and what direction did you turn in? All
south,
right. And where'd you go from there?
Follet.
Okay. You okay?
Fine.
Okay. Okay, I'll check that back there and see.
And look at me.
Let me know when you're ready, Susan, okay?
I'm
Take your
fine.
time. Take your time.
I'm fine.
Okay. I'm going to show you just a couple of pictures here. They're people's exhibits, excuse me, 10, 11, and 12. They'll appear in that screen in front of you, okay? I'm going to start with people's exhibit 10. That picture, does that look consistent with the van you saw that night?
Yeah. As far as I know, vehicles.
Okay. People's exhibit 11, does that look consistent with the car, the van you saw that night?
Yes.
And finally, people's exhibit 12, does that look consistent?
Yes.
When you got home that evening, how long were you at home prior to getting a phone call from your boss?
It wasn't very long, but I don't really know. I'm not positive.
All right, short period of time though?
Yes.
And did that cause you then to go back up to the Exxon station?
Yeah. Yes.
And where you ran into, or I didn't say not run into, but there were a bunch of police officers up there at that particular time?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Good morning, Ms. Follet.
Hi.
I'm wondering first if you can help establish a timeline a bit. Like what time you think you drove past Exxon the first time when you were going east on Sternberg?
I really have no idea.
Okay. But when you were driving east on Sternberg, parallel with that van in the service drive, you work at the Exxon station, right?
I do.
Okay. And how long
Or
did you-
did.
How long did you work there? When this happened?
7 years at that time, 8 years altogether.
Okay. Did you
Maybe
notice
6 years.
any other car? Okay.
Maybe 6 years at that time.
Okay.
I worked there 8 years altogether, though.
Did you notice any other cars at the Exxon station when you drove by?
I did not,
east on-
besides hers.
Okay. And hers is parked on the east side of the building, is that right? Or west side of the building?
It'd be the southeast side.
Okay. The side further from Grand Haven Road?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You saw her car there when you drove by, and your attention was drawn to the Exxon station because of the van pulling around the back, right?
The lights flipping off is what caught my attention. I had already been sick from head to toe as soon as I seen that van.
Okay. Did you notice when you were going east on Sternberg whether or not, before the van stopped, whether or not the back light was on?
I did not.
Okay. But the back light is supposed to be on at night, isn't it?
It was supposed to be, yes.
Okay. Can you see inside the Exxon station?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
When you drove by, you were on your motorcycle, you wearing a helmet?
Yes.
Did you have a visor or was it open in front?
A visor.
Okay. Could you see inside the station? When
Yes.
you drove by and you looked inside the station?
Yes.
Did you see Ms. Heeringa when you drove by?
I didn't see anybody in that store.
Okay. Can you see behind the counter as you drive by
Yes.
from the outside?
Mhm.
Okay. Did you look there also? to see?
I looked in the store. I wasn't looking for anybody or anything.
Okay, just didn't see anybody generally in the store. Okay. It was your idea to turn around and go back.
It was,
Why?
because I had been sick. I mean, as soon as I seen that van, I knew something wasn't right. And then seeing the headlights turn off, I knew something wasn't more right.
What did you suspect?
I didn't know. I actually figured that she was stealing.
Okay, so you went back to check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. You continued east on Sternberg over US 31, right?
Correct.
And is it true you stopped at a light with Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Was that at Harvey?
Yes.
Okay, that's when you told him to turn around and go back?
I told him I was turning around and going back.
Okay. And you crossed Harvey, turned left into the Bell Tire Station? Or
I
is it-
turned left at Harvey.
Oh, okay. And then into the lot of Bell Tire Station?
Yep, and turned around there.
Okay, without a pause, just did a quick
Yep.
turnaround and came back?
Yes.
So, what are we talking, 2 or 3 minutes since you passed the Exxon station? How long do you think?
Probably 2 minutes.
Okay. When you came back west on Sternberg, were there any differences in the parking lot? Any cars that weren't there when you drove by the first time?
I didn't pay attention,
Okay.
besides the van that was at the back.
Van, you saw the van as you were heading west? Okay.
Yes.
Before you had even passed the Exxon station, you could see the van?
No, I was just past the Exxon station. Like, as soon as I was at the end of it, I could see the van.
The service drive, as soon as you're at the service drive?
As soon as I was past the Exxon station, I could see the van.
Okay, and we're talking about coming back west?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you didn't see in the back of the store, you couldn't see the van until you got past the Exxon station getting ready to take a right? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, and then you turned right into the, is that the service drive, is that what it's called?
That's what they're calling it.
All right, so, so you turned right, that's north, saw the van parked in the back.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay. And that's when you parked in that lot by the Points Mall?
Yes,
Okay, and watched?
yes.
May I? Aerial. Ms. Follet, I'm showing you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit C. Can you identify that as the Exxon station?
Yes,
An aerial view? bird's
Yes.
eye? I'm wondering if you could, how's your artwork?
horrible.
Draw me a van in the back where you saw it?
I can draw you a something.
How about a box?
Okay. How about an oval?
Okay, so actually the front of the van was past the west wall of the
Yes.
Exxon station.
That's why when I got right to the side of the building, right in front of it, I could see the van out back.
Okay. And would you do one thing more for me? Can you put an X on the spot of the back of the station where the door leading out the back was?
Maybe approximately right there.
Okay. Is there only one door?
There's the front and the back.
But only one door out?
Yes.
Out the back? Okay, and it's about the middle of the Exxon station? Okay. And is this a fair and accurate, as far as you know, bird's eye view of the Exxon station?
Yes.
And, okay. I'd move to admit Exhibit C into evidence.
Could I just see what you can judge real quick? I have no objection, Judge.
There being no objection to Defense Exhibit C, Exhibit C will be admitted into evidence.
So when you saw a person outside by the van, the first time you saw that person, he was standing in the back of the van?
No, I didn't see a person back there. I could just tell something was happening back there. Like you could see movement, but I couldn't see any person.
Okay, when was the first time you realized there was a man?
When he walked to the driver's seat,
Okay, and he walked from the back along the driver's side to get in the driver's seat?
correct,
So
yes.
you lost view of him when he was walking back to the driver's seat?
No, I could see him.
Because he was tall, right? Taller than the top of the van? Okay, so you could see a profile of his face as he walked back to the...
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. But you could tell it was a man?
I could see that it was a man. I could
Okay.
see that it was big.
Okay. You continued to watch as the person got in the driver's side and then immediately pulled out? Okay.
Yes.
How long would you say you were sitting in the parking lot of the Points Mall before this person drove the van away?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. Did you think it was unusual? Actually, strike that, I gotta ask you a question first. Was the light off in the back of the Exxon station?
In the back, yes.
You could tell it was off. Did you find that unusual?
I know she was supposed to have it on, but she had had it off several times.
Sometimes she turns it off?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay. So you didn't think it was that big of a deal?
No.
Okay. So when the van left, it turned back onto the service drive to the right or north toward you, and then left right in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. And then you started following the van?
Yes.
Okay. Because you thought you already had seen what you needed to see, probably, right?
Yes.
And because you were suspecting there was stealing going on and you already, the van...
Yeah, there was nothing I was going to do about it.
Right.
Wasn't my job.
Except tell your boss, maybe. if you
Yeah.
find out. Okay.
Yes.
As the van passed in front of you, that's when you got the best view of the driver, right?
Yes,
Okay. And did he turn and look at you?
he did.
Okay,
Very casually, like he did nothing wrong.
okay. Driving a normal speed, you would say, for driving on a
Yes.
service drive? Okay.
And it was a white male with pretty blondish,
Wavy hair.
wavy hair, longer in the top, but not long enough for a
Yes.
ponytail, right?
No.
Okay. No facial hair,
Nope.
no glasses?
No.
Okay. You went home south on Grand Haven Road, and home is how, Mr. Barber said it was about 10 minutes. Would you say that's probably right?
Maybe about 15, 20.
Okay. How long were you home before you got the call?
Not very long.
5 minutes?
Longer than 5 minutes, but it wasn't very long. I
Okay.
think we came in, said hi to the kids, sat down. I think I took off my clothes for bed, and I got the phone call.
Okay. Let me back up and ask you this. At any point when you were sitting at the lakes, Point Small, did you look at your watch or
No.
phone or clock or anything to tell what time it was?
No.
Okay. And you didn't either when you were driving past and turned around at the Bell Tire?
No.
Didn't check any time? When was the last time you had checked the time? Do you remember?
No.
Okay.
I know I woke up at like 10 or 9 o'clock-ish
Okay.
from a nap.
And then you went for your ride.
Correct.
So you got called back, was it Fred that called you?
It was.
Fred's the owner?
Yes.
You went back to the Exxon station, about another 15-minute drive from your house?
Might have been a little bit quicker because I took the highway that time. Back roads are a little bit longer.
Okay. And you met with police officers that were on the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember, is it Detective Sinclair? Sergeant Sinclair?
It's Detective Sinclair.
It's Detective Sinclair. Do you remember meeting Detective Lori Sinclair?
I remember speaking to a lot of police officers that night.
Okay.
I don't know anybody's name.
Do you remember the one that you described what you saw and drew a sketch the first time?
Well, the sketch was at the police building.
Okay.
Not
Well, you
that
did- There was
night.
2 you did, right?
They were still at the police building.
Okay, so how long after this happened did you go to the police station?
I think I tried the next day, and then it was after that that I was able to do the correct one.
Okay. So the first one, by what you say, I take you didn't like very much.
No, it wasn't correct.
Okay. I'm showing you what's marked as Defendant's Exhibit D. You recognize that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first one you didn't like
It
very
is.
much? Okay. But this is the sketch that, do you remember Detective Sinclair now?
Oh, the lady.
The lady.
Okay, yep, I remember her now.
She drew that.
Mm-hmm.
Is-
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Is that
Sorry.
the same picture?
Yes.
Has it changed in any way, been altered?
No.
Of the first
Right, no.
sketch that you didn't like very much?
No.
And you gave this like a 4 out of 10, right?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
It was low.
I'd move to admit Defendant's Exhibit D into evidence.
Judge, I guess I'm going to object. She indicated that she did 2. This one, she looked at and said, it's not right. So I'm not sure what the relevance of that sketch is.
This is the first of 2 sketches, and she's just saying yep, that is the sketch.
But as evidence, she's saying that's not right. So I guess what's the relevance of an incorrect sketch?
Yeah, Mr. Hostica, what's the relevance of a sketch where she's saying that's not correct?
Because there's similarities, there's 2 drawings that were done, Judge. She's going to say that the second one was better, but they happened 2 different times with 2 different sketch artists, and they're very similar. And I just want to establish that the descriptions were basically the same that she gave those officers that created both of these drawings. And whether it's accurate or not, or whether she thinks it's a perfect rendition or not, isn't relevant. The relevancy is she sat down with a police officer, gave a description, and a sketch was made. And this is the first sketch, and it is as it appeared on the day it was made, and hasn't been altered in any way. So it's simply a piece of evidence that
that she created through the first sketch artist that she visited with.
Well, how does that make any fact of consequence in this matter more or less probable? I mean, that's the 401 standard, tell me that.
The drawings are similar, the description was similar, and it resulted in pictures that are similar. One is done by a much more accomplished artist, but they're both pictures that were drawn of the person she saw behind the Exxon station on April 26th.
All right, I'll allow it under 401. It has marginal relevance, but I'll allow it.
Thank you. Okay. Now I'm showing you what I already had marked as Exhibit A. Is this the better one?
Yes.
How long after you had the first one drawn did you have this one drawn?
I don't remember.
Okay, but you think this is a good rendition of who you saw? Okay.
You're shaking your head.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Has it changed in any way since it was drawn?
No.
Okay, I move for the admission of Defendant's Exhibit A into evidence.
No objection, Judge.
There being no objection to Defendant's Exhibit A, that will be admitted into evidence as well.
Okay.
If I could take a look at
Yeah, about three, Judge. When the van that you saw behind the Exxon station pulled out in front of you, you thought it looked like the same van your sister drives, right?
Yes.
Okay, your sister's Kim,
Yes,
and she drives a silver Town and Country.
she does.
And that's what you told the police you thought you saw as a silver Town and Country.
I told the police that it looked like my sister's van, is what I said.
Okay. How long have you, is it true that Miss Heeringa worked at Exxon about 8 months before she went missing?
Approximately, I believe.
Okay. Had you ever seen any problems with her emotionally or her demeanor?
Yes.
When she'd come into work?
Yes.
What do you mean? How?
Very quiet until she'd get there and then she'd liven up.
Okay. Well, do you know her well enough to know that
No.
very quiet is unusual?
No.
Then why is very quiet unusual?
I don't know. When you come to work and you get happy, isn't that unusual?
Yes. That's true. Did you ever work with her?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of whether there was a time when she got injured while she was working?
No.
If I could have just a moment, Judge.
Go ahead.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Just one quick follow-up. Ms. Follet, when you are parked at the Points Mall and the van is driving past you, did you notice any movement in the back seat area?
No.
When you were behind the van at that intersection of the parking lot and Old Grand Haven Road, did you notice any movement in the back of the van at that point in time?
No.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Yeah, follow up with just a quick question, Judge.
Okay.
Ms. Follett, I'm sorry, I just had another question. You said earlier that you'd seen the lights go off in the back while Jessica's working at night before.
Judge, I'm going to object. That's outside the scope of cross. I asked two questions. It had nothing to do with the back. It had to do with the van and activity in the van. He does not get to then go back and ask a question he may have forgotten during direct.
Well, he's on cross.
I'm sorry, my redirect. He's beyond the scope of redirect.
All right. Well, Michigan is a wide open cross-examination state unless the court limits cross-examination. And so, Mr. Hostica, where are we at here? I have some latitude here.
I just want to ask whether she, in her experience, this is the question. In her experience, does she know Miss Heeringa sometimes hangs out in the back of the Exxon station? I think it's relevant, and I think it is within the scope of this redirect.
Well, I'm going to allow this question. I'm going to allow the question based upon Michigan's wide open cross-examination rule on any relevant matter. And then we'll deal with the issue of whether we want to limit it from this point on. Go ahead, Mr. Hostica.
That's my question. That's all I want to know. Are you aware whether she would sometimes go out the back door and hang out in the back of the...
I got several complaints, but I was in the area often. Not that I shopped in the store while she was working, but I was in the area because my parents lived on the road. So, huh?
What do you mean complaints?
Oh, complaints on anything.
Okay. About her hanging out in the back of the case?
Yes, and having too many friends there hanging out.
Okay.
But she was a great worker.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hilson, any redirect, I guess we call it?
No, sir.
All right. All right, I have no questions, Ms. Follet. You can stand down. Before we do that, may she be excused?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
You are excused then as a witness, ma'am. So as to the cross-examination, are we asking that we limit cross-examination to the scope of direct in a general sense beyond this point?
I don't expect it to happen again, Judge, but I would agree with you and hope that you would have some latitude due to the seriousness of these allegations.
So neither party's asking me to limit
It's fine, Judge.
cross-examination to the scope of direct?
No, that's fine.
All right,
Thank you.
very well. Mr. Hilson, next witness.
Thank you, Judge. People of the state of Michigan call Craig Harpster to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. The man not many close court, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Have a seat, state your name for the record, spell your last name.
Craig Harpster, Harpster.
Good morning, Mr. Harpster. Back in April of 2013, who were you working for?
GE Aviation.
And what shift?
Before we go any further, is it Craig with a C or G?
C. C-R-A-I-G.
Thank you.
What shift did you work?
Second shift, 3 to 11.
3 p.m. to 11 p.m.?
Correct.
Now, are you familiar with the Exxon station that's on Sternberg?
I frequent it.
And is it true you go there pretty much almost every Friday after work?
No, I actually needed gas that day, and we punch out at 11 o'clock exactly.
Okay.
And I went right there.
So, just so that we have the record clear, we're talking about April 26, 2013, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So you worked that day,
Yes.
and you indicate that right at 11 o'clock, that's when you punch out.
I punch out at 11 o'clock every day.
All right. And did you go to the Exxon station on Sternberg at that particular evening?
Yes, I did.
And how long does it take you to get to that Exxon station?
I've retracted it many times, less than 7 minutes.
Okay. When you arrived at the station, what did you do?
Pulled up to the pump. I was going to get gas, but I was paying with cash. And I stood there for a little bit, and the pump has to be activated, and nothing happened, so I went inside.
Okay. Now, given the frequency that you go to the Exxon station, were you familiar with a female that worked there by the name of Jessica Heeringa?
Yes, I was.
All right. And did you know whether or not she was working that particular night?
No, I did not.
All right. When you went inside the station, what did you see?
There was nobody at the station at all. I went inside, hollered, "Hey, is anybody here?" Nobody responded. and I proceeded to look throughout the store.
Did it look at all, if there'd been like a disturbance or a struggle inside the store?
Not at all.
Did, where in the store did you look?
I looked into the restroom, which was on the left-hand side. I looked behind the counter where there's an office. I went into the walk-in cooler, which was L-shaped, and I looked out back.
Okay. Did it appear as though things were being, in a manner where, like, things were being ready for cleaning up purposes, or did you see cleaning materials, do you remember?
I did not.
Okay. Did you see any personal belongings?
I seen a purse at the cash register and a coat.
A purse and a coat?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Now, were you aware, was there another car parked in the parking lot?
There was a car parked in the front, yes.
Do you remember what kind of car it was?
An older, full-size vehicle.
All right. I want to show you a photograph here, Mr. Harpster. It's People's Exhibit 4. It'll appear on your screen. Mercury. Does that look familiar?
Yes, it is.
Was that the car you saw?
Yes, it is.
Okay. After you kind of did your own cursory inspection of the store itself, both inside and outside, what did you do?
I proceeded out to the front by the pumps and thought about leaving, but decided that it was best interest to dial 911.
Okay. And did you in fact dial 911?
Yes, I did.
All right. I want to play for you. I want you to listen carefully.
Miss Geegan 911, where's your emergency?
I don't know if it's emergency. I just got to work. I'm at the Exxon gas
First, is that your voice?
Yes, it is.
All right.
station at Sternberg Road, kind of Sternberg, Grand Haven.
Okay.
And there's nobody here. Wouldn't allow me to pump gas, but I just walked inside. There's nobody. There's a car here. There's another car out front. But it is very suspicious why there's nobody here.
Okay, so did you yell or anything, or?
Yeah, I hollered, hey, walked around the building. It just, I don't know. They're supposed to be open.
And it's still open, right?
Yeah, like when you walk in, the bell goes ding, 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 and, the cashier's supposed to be there, But I don't see anybody, hon.
And how many vehicles did you see in the parking lot?
Well, there's one parked by the building, and then there's another one that's a Honda, little SUV, CHL 2030. I found here. That's his driver. There's the license plate number.
Right.
The other one is CKE 1725. So it just seems strange. I come here after work. We work at GE Aviation and come here all the time for gas.
Okay, what is your name?
My name's Craig Harpster.
Okay, Craig, you said it's on Sternberg, correct?
Yeah, it's on Sternberg. It's just past the expressway.
Okay, I'm showing the address there, the Exxon 1196 East Sternberg. You said just past the expressway, okay.
Right.
Yep, and Craig, can you spell your last name for me?
Harpster.
Okay, one more time. It was A-K-R?
Pardon?
What, your last name one more time, I'm sorry?
Harpster, Harpster.
Yes, thank you. And the phone number you're calling me from?
231-286-7556.
Okay, are you going to be staying there, or?
I can, I'm sure that
okay.
If somebody close, I'd hate to see somebody come in and grab and run,
Okay. If you feel comfortable staying there, I do have an officer notified. Let me see where he is right now.
I'm just concerned that nobody's hurt or why.
Right. It looks like we have an officer who is just north of Heil on Grand Haven right now.
Okay. I can stay here. I'm in the black Jeep.
The black Jeep.
I'm right at the gas pump, and you can check my gas tank. I'm still on empty. I didn't get no gas out of it.
Okay. And a black Jeep. Okay. Like I said, he is on his way right now. If anything changes, Craig, I want you to call me right back.
Okay,
We'll send him out there, and if you feel like you have to leave, just give us a call back and let us know. Okay?
Okay. I still don't see anybody. I'm outside, so I don't see anybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Is that the extent of the 911 call?
Yes, it was, sir.
All right. And just so that I'm clear, you are certain that you punched out that night at 11 p.m.?
Very, very certain.
Okay. And you are certain that it takes you less than 7 minutes to get to the gas station?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that would have been true April 26, 2013?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
Cross, Mr. Hostetler.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Did I hear you say there's another car out front in the...
Yes, I gave 2 license plate numbers.
Okay. What was the other car?
The Honda.
All right.
That was up closer towards the road.
All right. And you're sure you got there at 11:07, correct?
Exactly.
Because you looked at your watch.
No, I have a clock on in the car, and in the past year I've worked 1 minute overtime, so I know I punched down at 11 o'clock. There was no traffic or extended traffic, and so yeah, I was there between 11:07 and 11:15.
Okay. I think you told one of the officers that you were sure it was 11:07 when you arrived.
Well, I've redone it many times. I estimated the time that it took me to walk around before I did call, because I believe the call went on at 11:15.
But you make that drive every day from work to Exxon, pretty much.
I do not. I go past Exxon, yes.
Enough to know how long it takes to
Oh,
get
yes.
to the Exxon station.
Yep.
And it takes about 7 minutes.
Yes.
Nothing further.
All right. Any redirect?
No, sir.
And I have no questions. May this witness be excused. Mr. Hilson?
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harpster, you're excused. Thank you.
Judge, may I know how strict are you keeping to your noon? Because the next witness may take a little bit longer.
Well, I plan to break at noon for lunch, but I want to break at a logical break point. You think the next witness is going to?
I mean, it's going to take. I mean, it's at least 10 minutes of direct examination.
All right. Well, this is a logical break point then. So we're going to break for lunch. We'll resume at 1:30. We'll resume at 1:30 p.m. Anything else for the record before we leave this record?
No, but we should probably talk.
1 second. 1 second. Deputies, 1 second. Go ahead, Mr. Hilson.
No, nothing else for the record, but we should probably talk on the side real quick.
Very well. All right. So we'll resume at 1:30.
Did you mean to give me this?
It's, no, yeah,
It's a, you can take
just
that.
throw it in. I got something to write on it. There is a pen.